win, go win, go win, go win, go win, win, go win.
It's an AFC battle in Pittsburgh as the 7-1 Indianapolis Colts are traveling to Pittsburgh to take on the 4-3 Pittsburgh Steelers. The Colts are favored by 3.5 points. It's a 1 o'clock kickoff in Pittsburgh. The over-under for this matchup is 50.5 points. So, let's start off with the Indianapolis Colts. The Indianapolis Colts are the most surprising team in the NFL right now. They are balling. They come into this matchup against the Steelers. They are 7-1 on the season. They are fresh off of a dominant performance over the Tennessee Titans in Week 8. The Colts beat the Titans 38-14. And in that game, the Colts had 164 rushing yards, 256 passing yards, 420 total yards of offense. And they have been very, very impressive to start the season. And I have to be honest, I was wrong about the Colts. I'll be the first to admit, I was wrong about the Indianapolis Colts coming into the season. I thought they were going to be one of the worst teams in the NFL. Remember in training camp, they had a quarterback competition between Anthony Richardson and Daniel Jones. And Daniel Jones, not only did he win that quarterback competition against Anthony Richardson, but Daniel Jones has been balling to start the season. And he is in the MVP conversation for the Indianapolis Colts right now. I'm looking at Daniel Jones for the season. 13 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, 2,062 passing yards. He's completing 71% of his passes. And when you look at Daniel Jones, this is since 2023. And 2023, 2024, Daniel Jones went 3-13. His team's points per game were 14, 13 total touchdowns, 16 turnovers. This season, he's 6-1. His team's points per game is 33 points per game, 14 total touchdowns, 3 turnovers. So Daniel Jones has been balling, and he has been playing the quarterback position at an elite level for the Indianapolis Colts. He really, really has. And I know I'm looking at their offense right now and their offensive ranks. The Colts, they average 393 yards per game. That's ranked 3rd in the NFL. They average 251 passing yards per game. That's ranked 6th in the NFL. Okay? They average 34 points per game. That's ranked 1st in the NFL. But the biggest reason why the Indianapolis Colts are 7-1 and are leading the AFC South and leading the AFC right now is because of Jonathan Taylor. Jonathan Taylor has been balling. And I know I mentioned earlier how Daniel Jones is in the MVP conversation. The reason why Daniel Jones cannot win NFL MVP is because I believe right now the current NFL MVP is Jonathan Taylor. He has been playing at an elite level. This is Jonathan Taylor this season. This is before the matchup against the Titans, because in that game, Jonathan Taylor, he was balling in that game. Here's Jonathan Taylor's numbers against the Titans in Week 8. He has 12 carries, 153 rushing yards, averaging close to 13 yards per carry, 2 touchdowns. That was in the Week 8 matchup against the Titans. Now, here are his numbers prior to the matchup against the Titans, because obviously his numbers have improved with that performance. Here were his numbers before the matchup against the Titans in Week 8. 131 rushes, ranked 2nd in the NFL. He had 697 rushing yards, ranked 1st in the NFL. He had 10 touchdowns, which was also ranked first in the NFL. So he's ranked first in rushing yards and rushing touchdowns this season. He is the NFL MVP, and he's the biggest reason why the Indianapolis Colts are 7-1 and why they are averaging 34 points per game. I know Daniel Jones has played much better this season. He's probably played better in Indy than I've ever seen him play when he was in New York. But make no mistake about it, the reason why the Colts have had the success that they have had is not because of Daniel Jones. It's not because of Shane Steichen, their head coach. It's because of Jonathan Taylor. And to me, Jonathan Taylor is having an MVP season, and it's even better than Saquon Barkley's season last year. And let me explain why. Saquon Barkley had a great 2024 season. Had over 2,000 rushing yards. He helped lead the Philadelphia Eagles to the Super Bowl, and he was the best running back in the 2024 season by far. But the reason why I would say Jonathan Taylor's 2025 season has been more impressive than Saquon Barkley's 2024 season is because I'm looking at this Colts offense. Daniel Jones is nowhere near as good as a Jalen Hurts is. This Colts receiving core, they are an average receiving core with Pittman, with Pierce. They're average. The Eagles have an elite receiving core with A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith. So I would say that what Jonathan Taylor has done in 2025 is a little bit more impressive than what Saquon did in 2024. And I'm not taking nothing away from Saquon. Okay, Saquon was the best player in that Eagles offense last year by far. But Jonathan Taylor is also the best player in this Colts offense significantly. And he doesn't have what Saquon Barkley had at his disposal as far as pieces around him. He is playing at an elite level. And I'm looking at this Colts team right now. Obviously, at receiver, you got Michael Pittman Jr. You got Alec Pierce, okay? You got Josh Downs as well. But one of the important pieces in this Colts offense has been Tyler Warren. He's their tight end. Tyler Warren is playing some really, really good football for the Colts this season. And he's been a very, very important piece for them. Tyler Warren this year, 37 receptions, 492 receiving yards, 3 touchdowns. So he's had a significant impact. And Tyler Warren with Jonathan Taylor and with Daniel Jones playing better in 2025 than he's ever played before in his career, that's the reason why the Colts are 7-1. But let's give a big shout out also to Colts defensive coordinator Lou Anarumo, because the Colts defense also has played well. You look at the Colts, you can't run against the Colts. They only give up 93 rushing yards per game. That's ranked 8th in the NFL. They only give up 19 points per game. That's ranked 6th in the NFL. So Lou Anarumo, the former Bengals defensive coordinator, has found a home in Indy. He was the scapegoat last year for the Cincinnati Bengals. They had to blame somebody for their disappointing season, and they just decided to move off of Lou Anarumo. But Lou Anarumo has went to Indianapolis, and he has established a great defensive culture, and the Colts have a top 10 defense right along with their elite offense. Now, let's go to the Pittsburgh Steelers on the flip side. Steelers are 4-3 on the season. They have lost 2 straight games in which they gave up 30 points or more and gave up 400 yards or more in both of those games, in week 7 against the Bengals and in week 8 against the Packers. And the thing about the Pittsburgh Steelers is, I remember in the offseason when the Steelers acquired or signed Aaron Rodgers, everyone talked about how this is the perfect situation and perfect marriage when you team up Aaron Rodgers and Mike Tomlin, because Mike Tomlin is going to take care of the defense and Aaron Rodgers will take care of the offense. And most people were of the belief that all the Steelers needed was good quality production at the quarterback position, and they could be Super Bowl contenders. The Steelers, with Mike Tomlin and their defense and their overall football team and their organization, they were already playoff contenders. But most people were of the belief, if you bring in a competent quarterback, then the Steelers would elevate from being playoff contenders to Super Bowl contenders. And unfortunately, Mike Tomlin and the Steelers defense have not held up their end of the bargain. And the thing is, when I look at this Pittsburgh Steelers team, I'm looking at their defensive ranks. They gave up 406 total yards. That's ranked 30th in the NFL. They give up 273 passing yards per game. That's ranked dead last in the NFL. They give up 113 rushing yards per game. That's ranked 18th in the NFL, and they give up 25 points per game. That's ranked 22nd in the NFL. And this was a Pittsburgh Steelers defense that is a defense that brought in Darius Slay. They brought in Jalen Ramsey. And that Steelers defense has gotten lit up in the last 2 weeks by Joe Flacco and Jordan Love. Justin Fields lit them up in week 1. I don't even think Justin Fields is a starter in the NFL. I know right now he started for the Jets, and shout out to the Jets. They did beat the Bengals in week 8. But Justin Fields has been very inconsistent since he's came into the NFL. And Justin Fields had over 30 points against the Steelers defense in week 1. So this Steelers defense, they have been getting shredded all season long. All season long. Let's look at the Steelers and their schedule. Week 1, they give up 32 points to Justin Fields and the Jets. Week 2, they give up 31 points to Sam Darnold and the Seattle Seahawks. Week 3, they only give up 14 points. That was good for them. Week 4, they give up 21 to Carson Wentz and the Minnesota Vikings. And week 6, they gave up 9 to the Cleveland Browns. But the Browns, they don't really have a quarterback. They don't have an offense whatsoever to speak of. So I can't give the Steelers defense credit for holding the Browns to only 9 points. But this Steelers defense has been awful. They have been awful. Defensive coordinator Terrell Austin and that Steelers defense, they have to improve. They don't have to be an elite defense, but they have to at least be an average defense for the Steelers to even compete, for them to be able to even compete, because they got boat raced in the second half against the Packers. The Packers outscored the Steelers 28-9 in the second half in that matchup in week 8. 28-9. And 21-6 specifically in the fourth quarter. So Jordan Love had the best game of his career against that Steelers defense. They have been awful. But the thing is with the Steelers, they're not that much better offensively. They're not. And look at Aaron Rodgers. By opponent's record, he's done very well against inferior competition, but against the good teams, he struggles. Teams that have a 500 record or better, he's 1-2. Yards per attempt, 6.1. His touchdown to interception ratio is 5-3. Total QBR is 40. Teams that are under 500. Rodgers is 3-1. 8.0 yards per attempt, 11 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, His QBR is 61 against those teams that are 500 or worse. So Rodgers is playing great against those bad, inferior teams. But when he goes up against teams like the Seahawks, like the Packers, he struggles. And I expect him to struggle in this week's matchup against the Colts. Again, like I said earlier, the Steelers' offense, I don't think they have a really good offense. They don't really have any true receivers besides DK Metcalf. And honestly, to me, as an offense, Rodgers is limited. He's limited. If it's not a go route to DK Metcalf up the sideline, if it's not a slant over the middle, they don't really have many levels or dimensions to their offense. I don't see the Steelers have crossers across the middle with Freiermuth or Jonnu Smith, their tight end. Their offense is extremely predictable. And the Steelers, they make everything hard offensively. Elite offenses like the Green Bay Packers, like the Kansas City Chiefs, like the LA Rams, when you watch those teams play, and on the offensive side of the ball specifically, it is easy. Like they are able to move the ball extremely easy. With the Steelers, it is a struggle. And if they find themselves in 2nd and 12 or 3rd and 11 or 3rd and 14 situations, they do not have the personnel to convert first downs. And honestly, they do not have the quarterback to get the football down the field in a creative manner. He can throw the football deep still. Aaron Rodgers still has a cannon, but they have zero creativity offensively with their intermediate passing game. That's what I'm talking about. Like the 15 to 20 yard plays. They don't have it. They don't have it. They're either throwing the ball deep to DK Metcalf or it's a slant over the middle. So I do not believe the Steelers are contenders in the AFC North, and they are not contenders in the AFC. So, with that being said, the Indianapolis Colts are a significantly better football team than the Pittsburgh Steelers are, and Daniel Jones is playing the quarterback position at a higher level right now than Aaron Rodgers is. So I'm rolling with the Colts to beat the Steelers in Week 9 in Pittsburgh. I'll go Colts 30, Steelers 17.